Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's another day, another apology. Apology from Hollywood. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is best known for Hamilton, has apologized apparently for not having enough African Latinx representation in his Latino musical or something.
Yeah.
So he got called out. He got called out for not having, I guess, enough black people or mixed race people in a musical about Latino people.
Right. Yeah, Latino, not Latinx.
Yeah, right. And Bill Maher is calling him a pussy, basically. So we'll talk about this apology tour that people who want to continue to work in Hollywood have to go on.
Well, this isn't the first time he's apologized. And
No.
my takeaway is he's going to do whatever the hell he wants and then maybe say, oh, yeah, I'm sorry afterwards.
Yeah, so I think
care.
I think the bar is going to keep getting moved with this sort of thing because again, it's sort of like the check boxes, right? Like you can get away with a lot more if you have more check boxes. Well, Lin-Manuel Miranda, basically the only check box he has is he's not white.
Right.
But he's still a straight man.
And you know what's funny? Most of the country doesn't care.
No.
A lot of the country doesn't even know this was a thing. That the Heights was even a thing. And it's evidenced by the fact that it didn't do well at the box office either. Because nobody but Twitter cares.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about this, change in the attitude, I guess, in Hollywood. And we'll kind of tie it into what's going on right now with how they greenlight shows and movies and why you have to apologize if you want to keep working in that system. Or people could just get fed up and be like, screw this, I'm just going to go tell the stories I want to tell.
Right.
And,
on your crowdfunding or YouTube.
Yeah, or let's all just go start our own network where we don't have to adhere to all these ridiculous guidelines.
Like YouTube, and now they're all trying to come for that.
Yeah. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 200,000 subs.
Woohoo! Yeah, we gotta do something for that.
Yeah, we do. We don't know what we're gonna do yet, but thank you so much for the support. More people watch our channel than watched In the Heights.
We don't know that. That's fine.
Probably. When you break it down by the ticket. I don't know.
I doubt that entirely. But anyway.
So let's back it up here. In the Heights, which I did not even know was a thing. It felt like a quasi-Hamilton sequel, probably because I think the lead guy in it was actually from Hamilton. It was Lin-Manuel Miranda. And the first time I even heard of it is we went to go see A Quiet Place Part 2. And they had a trailer for it. I'm like, oh. At first I thought, I was like, is this the new West Side Story that Steven Spielberg was doing?
Oh, that's coming too, yes.
That's coming too. Oh, I'm waiting for that. Because he's not Latinx. And he's doing
How dare he?
So that's what I thought was the first. I'm like, they add some songs. I don't remember these songs. I'm like, this sounds awful. What they do, Hamilton this? I'm like, oh, because it's not. It's by the guy who did Hamilton. And yeah, nobody else apparently knew anything about it either because it didn't do well.
I mean, let's be honest here. When I heard they were doing West Side Story, I was like, why? Because musicals aren't exactly, ones people were just, itching to go see. Even when ones that did well, that like, was that La La Land or critically acclaimed or The Greatest Showman, they still didn't do like gangbusters in the box office.
No, they had legs. They would play a longer time, but then they tried, the Cats.
Oh my God, yes. Look how well that did.
Cats. I mean, we could, speaking of Steven Spielberg, we could have had an animated version of Cats, which would have been infinitely superior to whatever the hell that was in the theater a couple of years ago.
Now, I myself am a huge fan of musicals and things.
She is.
I grew up singing. I sing damn songs from musicals all the time. I was in musicals. I sing. I do this stuff. And I'm even like, I had like zero desire to see. I have zero desire to see West Side Story again. Didn't want to see Cats either, even though I sing songs from it. I don't care.
Nobody wanted to see Cats.
No.
Not like that. Yeah, but In the Heights did not do well. It did under $13 million. They expected 25 to 35 million.
Oh.
So now this is going to be the selective pandemic because just a couple of weeks ago, AMC stock was going through the roof and everybody's like, oh my God, movie theaters are back. Movie theaters are back. Everybody's going to the theater now. I went to go see Quiet Place. I'm like, yeah, they'll go to movies they want to see. This one I didn't even know existed. And yeah, musicals are very niche niche audience, but apparently there wasn't enough representation
in the very representative movie.
In the movie that was literally all about Latino community in New York. There wasn't enough representation. So they had to explain it, because I didn't quite get it. They said the backlash against Lin-Manuel Miranda's In the Heights explained the film adaptation of the musical has drawn criticism for not featuring Afro-Latino performers in prominent roles.
I also did not see, were there people in wheelchairs? I don't know. I didn't see it. I'm asking legitimately.
There might have been.
Where there's representation, was there representation there? Where's representation for the Latino tone deaf people?
We need more morbidly obese dancers.
That's right.
Always. See, this is...
You can be very fat and dance, though.
Well, you can.
I actually can move pretty well for someone who's not skinny.
Morbidly obese.
Well, not skinny.
Ask Rebel Wilson when she was in Cats. She was in Cats. See, we can bring this all around. She was in Cats, but you know what they had her do? She has a really good voice, but she lost a lot of weight. But when she was heavier, they had her like
always the comic relief type.
Yeah, she was like licking her butt and falling off the chair and the whole.
I know.
It was like, oh, let's make.
That whole movie was just a cat licking its ass and falling off a chair, for being honest.
That was.
But anyway, continue.
So yeah, critics were kind of praising it. CNET praised it. But some viewers have expressed dismay that In the Heights falls short when it comes to Afro-Latino representation. Members of that community make up a significant portion of the real Washington
Okay, well,
Heights.
in that case, I understand it.
Okay, but instead of having lead roles in the film, darker-skinned Afro-Latino performers have background and dance roles. Well, this is, I think the lead guy, I could be mistaken, but I think he's from Hamilton.
He is, yes.
So
okay, in that situation, what they're saying, okay, I get their point, because I mean, I could argue there wasn't enough Asian Latino representation. We can do this all day, but if they're saying, if you look at the statistics, but then when does the statistics matter? Because statistically speaking, representation, we're seeing that things that are being pushed on networks and in TV aren't actually representative numerically to the real world either, but you're still pushing it. So, just saying.
So here's one tweet. Y'all don't understand this isn't about diversity. We're asking why a film about Dominicans in the Heights doesn't look anything like Dominicans or the Heights. Dominicans are mostly black. The Heights is mostly a black Dominican neighborhood.
Okay, in that case, I see their point.
Well,
I do see their point.
Lin-Manuel Miranda got coffee there once.
Okay, yeah.
Decided to write a musical.
Okay, in this case, I get what they're saying. But you know what? Here's the thing. Okay, well, this is the same people yelling about that, but then they have period dramas, historical dramas, where they're making characters that would normally be white, not white, because they're trying to pander to diversity, and people complain about that and say, well, in the time period, that wouldn't have happened. They're told they're bad people.
So Rita Moreno, she commented on the criticism, and she criticized it too, and then she walked it back. So everybody's basically like, your diverse movie, Lin-Manuel Miranda, creator of Hamilton, is not diverse enough.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that the movie itself isn't what anybody cares about? They're just all arguing about the diversity in the movie that no one's actually going to go see anyway.
That is true.
I mean, at the end of the day.
Does it really matter? Because nobody saw the movie.
The only diversity Hollywood cares about, or the execs in Hollywood cares about, are the green kind of diversity. And I don't think this is bringing in the green kind of diversity.
10s, 20s, 100s, 50s.
Right.
Hamilton is a favorite in Hollywood, especially when he's on the $10 bill. Mm-hmm. That's anyway. He apologized last year for not saying more during BLM, because people are looking to him because they're like, you're the guy who gave us diverse Hamilton. Why aren't you making a big flowery statement?
And if anybody complained about that, because they technically they're all white guys. They got yelled at for that too. You know what I mean? It's just like, I love how, well, that wasn't exactly representative of the real founding fathers, but here we are. So I'm like, they're mad because the Heights wasn't representative of the actual community, which I get what they're saying. I hear what they're saying, and I don't disagree. But when people argued the exact same thing about Anne Boleyn or this or whatever, they got told they were racist and terrible people.
So George Washington didn't actually rap?
Probably not.
Oh my God, history's a lie. History is a lie.
I just love that they pick and choose this one. I get the point, and they have a valid point. but so did the people who were commenting about historically accurate characters in other places, and they were told they were terrible people for saying that.
So this is where it gets crazy, because we were gonna do a video the other day, and we actually didn't give it any attention about Amazon, and they put out their new diversity and inclusion guidelines.
Oh yes.
And it basically is a quota. It's like, and it's the same thing Disney's doing. There are all these major studios are doing this right now. I can't believe we're calling Amazon a studio. They just used to sell books on the internet, but they're a studio now, I guess. And they have bullet points like your cast has to be this percentage of this race, this sexual orientation. This is what they have to have between their legs. Or
most of what they're pushing is women and LGBTQ.
Yeah,
that's what they're pushing. If you read the thing, women more so. Than other, even minorities like, ethnicities aren't pushed. It's 30% of this and 30% of that, but 50% have to be women. And if you look at it, it's some ridiculous thing. And it's like, well, what happens if it's a film about, I don't know, about some men, like someone with men, with World War I or World War II in the field?
You just stop. What happens if it's a movie about men? It doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't happen. We've had enough of those. We don't need more movies about men.
We're gonna go all 12th night on it, and
yeah. I mean, this is the thing. Like at this point, we're making movies by committee because you have to run your movie or your TV show through a gauntlet and make sure that it's got exactly the right combination of people. I mean, Disney, they flat out said they had some really, really funny sitcoms they passed on because they were too white.
It's okay, somebody else will pick them up.
Somebody else is going to have to pick them up.
But here's the thing. And then when the box office numbers don't bring it, then it's because people are istophobic. And it's like, look, I get it. I think that there needs to be more representation, and especially behind the scenes. I'm not disagreeing. But when you have to do everything based on, percentages and committee, and you're spending all that time and resources on that, it doesn't necessarily mean you're getting the best person for the job. I don't know. I just, we can sit here and go all day. I'm just tired of this crap.
We've got diversity behind the camera.
Paint by numbers, literally.
Lin-Manuel Miranda makes a musical about a Latino community.
But then they do have, Afro-Latinos in the background.
But basically, the diverse movie isn't diverse enough.
And people probably complain about it, probably people that are white, women on Twitter.
Probably. Well, yeah. I mean, anyway, God, so here we are. So now Bill Maher, who has really been letting it fly lately. I would actually kind of put Bill Maher in the same camp as like Sarah Silverman and Dave Chappelle, where these people were historically liberals, but they're like, where's the liberty in being a liberal? It's being taken away from us.
The goalpost keeps moving as moving into ridiculous territories. And I think that's where, a lot of us are at too. I mean, you're just like, when does it end?
So Bill Maher said, stop apologizing. Stop apologizing. You're the guy who made the founding fathers black and Hispanic. I don't think you have to apologize to Twitter.
Thank you. See, they're blaming Twitter too. Finally, Hollywood's starting to get it.
The committee that makes note of everyone's skin tone took note of it.
Yes, pretty much.
Do I think that he really thinks he should apologize? I don't, he said. I think that he wants to avoid the news cycle, and I don't blame him.
He's you know what? He's apologizing, but he's just going to go do what he wants to do again to say, "Whoops, I'm sorry," and move on. Because he can get away with it because, if he was a white guy, he'd probably be never allowed to live it down. So he has check boxes in his favor. So all he has to do is, oh, sorry, moving on to the next. Here, cash my check. On to the next one.
Yeah, but then what they're going to do is they're going to watch next time and make sure you do exactly the movie by committee that they want.
Doesn't matter. It's not going to happen.
This is why people hate Democrats, said Bill Maher. It's cringy. I mean, he's a Latino making a Latino movie with a Latino cast. Not good enough. Nothing is ever good enough for these people.
Thank you. Finally, people are starting to get it.
They're like children. We don't raise our children right, and it's reflected in the media. No one ever tells their children.
You called the media and Twitter? Damn!
No one ever tells their children, shut the fuck up, sit down, listen to your elders, and stop bitching.
We do, and that's why we have 200,000 subscribers.
Maher finished with, people are going to have to stand up to these bullies because that's what it is, bullying.
Yes, it is.
It's, I can make you crawl like a dog, and I enjoy it.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Shit.
Yes, this is everything that people like us and other YouTubers are saying.
But you get called an alt-right Yahtzee if you say it. And,
Oh, I'm sure he's getting called alt-right Yahtzees too.
oh, they're going to be like, oh my God, Bill Maher is courting
No,
Trump
what they're going to do is they're
supporters.
going to scream, and they're going to get like a small group of people with all their alt accounts to scream on Twitter, get it trending, and then try to get him fired.
Yeah, good luck with that. Because the people that are speaking out the most, it seems to be comedians. Comedians are speaking out the most because they are the most affected by this, because you're not allowed to be funny because it might offend somebody, right? Comedy is supposed to be a little offensive, a little bit. The reason you laugh is because you're usually shocked because you weren't expecting them to say what they were saying, and this is beyond comedy. Like you said, when you've got a Latino making a movie about Latinos and the Latino community, and it's not diverse enough, because if this had gone through like Amazon or something, or Disney now, they'd be like, well, what percentage of these characters, who are they sleeping with? We need to make a note.
It wouldn't have mattered because in this case, they had representation all the way around. It would have passed on Amazon, on Disney, all those things. It would have passed all of that. A lot of female characters. They had, I think, lesbians in it. They have a bunch of people that aren't white. It would have passed flying colors. Yeah,
it's just insane. So he apologized. So you know what's going to happen there, Lynn? You're going to have to apologize again and again and again for everything you do from now until the end of time, until you get fed up and tell those people to go fuck themselves. You're going to make the movies you want to make. You're going to write the plays you want to play.
I think eventually it's going to stop, though. I think it's going to have to, because it's getting to the place where now even the people higher up are starting to call it out. I think it's going to get to a point where people are going to reject it so much, and we're going to have so much failure that they're going to have to come back and be more realistic about how they approach things.
Yeah. And that's it. At the end of the day, the audience will support you with their money, or they won't.
I'm sorry. There's the Underground Railroad fantasy version of slavery is meant to cuddle the safe space generation. But my next thing is, how come we don't have Asian people, running the Underground Railroad and being the slaves?
Well, that's because they were too busy building the railroad for the white people.
But I'm just saying, my point is that you can change races on everything else.
Yeah, I know.
But for that, it has to stay the same, because that's historic. Well, historically, there's a bunch of characters that weren't black or Latino that you're making so on. It's other things. And I personally have no issue with. But I'm just saying, it's like, you're going to have to fucking pick what you're going to stick to and stick to it. Sorry, Mom.
One of these days, and God, I think we're going to be living Idiocracy, the movie. People are going to look at Hamilton like it's a historic document.
They probably are.
They're like, this is literally what happened. This is history right here, literally. That's George Washington rapped.
Well, they're going to be
George Washington was a black man who rapped.
Why do you keep saying America wasn't diverse?
I think we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.